Okay, guys. So yeah. So yesterday we were looking at again applications of DFS. We are looking at directed graphs, and we are trying to see if there is an efficient algorithm to check if there is a directed cycle in the given directed graph. Right? We are sort of trying to sort of brainstorm some ideas, and yeah, the problem was basically the how do we sort of say that in the undirected sense it was a bit more easier to say that one when a particular vertex will be a descendant of another, right? Here also we want to capture something like that, right? So yesterday by the end of the class what we sort of said was that suppose there is an edge from V to U, right? VU is an edge. Then if V was discovered before U, then U will be a descendant of V, right? So let me just write it in that manner. So for any edge VU, right? If V is discovered before U, then U is a descendant of V in the DFS tree, right? So this is the same as yeah, we are just writing it in a different language, same as what we have written above, right? So is this fine? The why this is true? Is it clear why this is true? Is true. So does everyone agree to this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yesterday we even looked at the proof, right? Right.
Yes, sir.
So there is no way the DFS would backtrack from V, right, without sort of discovering U, right, since U is a neighbor of V. Now let us sort of see how to sort of extend this idea, right? So, so we said that this is true for an edge. Is it also true for a path? So instead of any edge VU,
Yes,
what
sir.
if there is a VU path, right? So what? So sort of a simple lemma is let P be a path from V to U. Notice that this is a directed path, right? If V is discovered before U, then U is a descendant of V in the DFS tree, say containing V. So is this true?
Yes, sir.
How do we prove this? Why? Why is this true?
So we can take every adjacent vertices in the path, and then each next vertex will be the descendant of the previous one. So they all will lie in the same tree.
Okay. So you can start with any path. So from the first, from this claim, right? So you know that if V1 is this vertex, so if V1 was discovered first, then V2 will be a descendant, right? If this is the path, V2 will be a descendant of V1, right? And but hmm. But it need not be discovered in this manner, right? Not with respect to the path, right? So it is not necessary that V2 will be discovered just after V1, right? So you might even discover V3, something like this, right?
Yes, sir, but they will be descendant of V1 always.
They will always be descendant
Of
of
V1. V1.
V1. Okay. So how do we prove this? Why is this true?
So either they will be connected with their previous vertices. So if we go on that vertex, we cannot backtrack until we fully discover all its neighbors. Or either they'll be the neighbors of V1, therefore they'll be discovered after V1. So therefore, anyhow, they will be the descendants of V1.
No, it is still not clear, Pranav. Why? So yeah, first stage, yeah, we see why V2 will always be a descendant of V1. We saw, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Why will any vertex Vi in this path will why will it be a descendant of V1?
So we can show it by induction. Like if V2 is a descendant of V1, then either we can go on discovering V3 from V2 because it's its neighbor. So we have to discover its all of its neighbors. So therefore it will be a descendant of V2, and since V2 is the descendant of V1, then V3 will also be the descendant of V1.
But we can't say that V3 is a descendant of V2, right?
Yes, sir. But all the vertices will be descendant of V1.
V1, right? So, but
Yeah.
yeah, how do we say that? That is still not clear. I mean, yeah, first thing, because see, the thing is, it is not necessary that, forget about V2, we are somewhere in the middle, right? Somewhere,
Yes, sir.
some VI. How do you say that VI is a descendant of V1?
So maybe we can go by induction.
Induction on what? How do
So
you
the
do induction?
vertices on the
Vertices
vertices.
or the length of the path?
Yeah.
Okay, if the length of the path is say 1, if it contains one edge, it is true by this, right?
Yes.
So assume that yeah, the path has length some k. Okay, then yeah, by sort of induction we can always say that
VK will
yeah,
be the descendant of V1.
yeah, v k minus 1 till k minus 1, right?
Okay, K minus
So
1, yeah.
right, all vertices till k minus 1, right, are descendants of
V1.
V1 in the DFS tree. Okay. Now we
Yes,
need
sir.
to sort of argue it for VK. Yeah. Why is
Yes, sir.
VK descendant of V1?
So
VK is
whenever we
adjacent
reach
to
VK,
one
we
of
have
these.
to, sorry, so whenever we reach VK minus 1, either we have to discover VK because
They
it's
might
its
not be
neighbor.
discovered in this order,
Yeah.
right?
It might
VK
get
minus 1
discovered
might,
before VK minus 1 also.
yeah, yeah.
So it might be the descendant of either VK minus 1 or the vertices we have discovered before VK minus 1.
Yeah, maybe, yeah, it was discovered from some vertex outside this path.
But
So
how can it be outside this path if we are discovering like all the.
no,
Suppose if we are discovering all the vertices in the cycle, then
yeah,
we have to discover all its
Hello,
neighbors.
hello.
And since
not
it is connect.
no, this outside in the sense the vertex is in the graph, but it is not in this path, right? There are a lot of vertices in the graph, right? So you can go sort of
Yeah,
go
okay,
this.
but you had to be discovered after V1 only, no?
Yeah, that is true.
So then U is the descendant of V1, we can say that.
Why?
So
It is
the
what if it has been backtracked already from V1?
so we
So,
cannot
but
backtrack.
since VK is connect, like there is a path from V1 to VK. So, like, how will it backtrack without like having discovered everything on that path?
Why?
If some,
That
if
is what
some,
we are trying to prove. That is
yeah.
that is exactly the statement we are trying to prove.
So can we number it based on when we visited? So V1 is visited first,
Hello.
Yeah, V1 is visited first. That
And
is the
then-
only information we know. Yeah.
and then we number the vertices based on which gets visited.
Okay.
And so when we reach Vk, it is either a child of one of the vertices from V1 to Vk minus 1.
Oh, we
And-
don't number it this way, is it? We will number it the way it is visited.
Yeah. And then
Sir, this will work, sir, because you can't be discovered before we, according to the statement given.
You can't be discovered.
Before V, sir. V1.
Maybe it is discovered after, but why should it be a descendant? It need not be a descendant, right?
Because we're starting off from V1, right? V1 to V2 to V3 and so on.
Hello.
Yeah.
So because discovery time of
It
V1
must
is
be
less than discovery time.
one of the V1 to VK minus ones.
Yeah, it went to something. Yeah, it need not have come here in the initial case. So probably it took this branch, right? It went here, some U1, something, some UI here, right? Then it discovered VK, right?
So then, in that case, we've already proven that U is a descendant of V.
Yeah, no, this is just one case, right? We need to sort of encompass all these cases when we are sort of trying to prove it, right? So I just said that I just gave this sort of case to say that VK might be the first vertex in this path that is discovered, right? After V1.
So after Vk minus 1, there are two possibilities. Either we can discover Vk or Vk has already been discovered. So if we
Yes.
are discovering Vk,
Hmm.
then it will be true for, then Vk will also be a descendant of V1. And if we are not discovering Vk, it has also.
One minute. Yeah, let us try to understand what Pranav is saying. So he is dividing it into two cases. So we have already, by inductive hypothesis, we have assumed that Vk minus 1 is discovered, right? What he is saying is there are two cases. Either Vk minus 1 is already discovered, right?
No, Vk is already discovered, or we have to discover it by discovering all the neighbors of Vk minus 1.
Yeah, I am saying it the other way, right? So Vk minus 1 is already discovered before Vk, or Vk is discovered before Vk minus 1, right? These
Yes,
are two
sir.
cases,
Yeah.
right? So
So when we go on discovering Vk, then Vk will be the descendant of V1. And if we are finding it, if we find that Vk is already discovered, then we are already moving on a backage from
Discovery-
Vk minus 1 to Vk.
discovery time of Vk minus 1 is say less than discovery time of Vk, right? So guys, do I need to write the whole proof? If I need to write, please let me know. I am sort of yeah, trying to, anyway, let us discuss this first, and then if needed we will also write the proof so that it becomes much more useful. Okay, so yeah, discovery time of Vk minus 1, if it is less than Vk, then can we get the argument yeah, easily? Pranav, is this
Yes,
easy?
sir. Yes.
Why?
Then we can say that if we have discovered Vk minus 1, then we have to discover Vk by searching for all its neighbors.
Yeah, Vk minus 1 was discovered first, right? By inductive hypothesis. So we have that Vk minus 1 is a descendant, right?
Yes, sir.
Descendant of V1, and by the earlier claim we have that Vk is a descendant, right? Descendant, since Vk minus 1, Vk is an edge, Vk is a descendant of Vk minus 1, right? So this
Yes,
will
sir.
imply that Vk will be a descendant of Vk minus 1, which would in turn imply that it will be a descendant of V1. Okay,
Yes, sir.
this direction is nice. What about the other direction? What if the discovery time of Vk is less than Vk minus 1? It was discovered before Vk minus 1.
So then we have to discover Vk minus 1 after Vk.
Yes, that's true.
And since we have assumed that Vk minus 1 is a descendant of V1,
Mhm.
then I think Vk
So-
will also be a descendant.
Why? Assumption is Vk minus 1 is
So because V1 is discovered first, so Vk,
descendant of V1. Yes, we have assumed this.
yeah. And since Vk has had to be discovered after V1 only.
Okay, so yeah, Vk, okay, discovery time of, this is nice.
Vk.
Discovery time of Vk is greater than discovery time of V1.
1. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and it is anyway, yeah. Can we say anything about finishing time of V1?
finishing time of V1, no,
Is,
sir, I
is
don't think.
anyway greater than the finishing time of
Yes, sir.
Vk.
Greater
Vk,
than-
yes, sir. Vk.
Vk minus 1, right? Vk minus 1 at
Yeah.
least. Right, because it is the descendant, right? So
Yeah.
this would definitely say that, so the discovery of Vk is happening between the discovery
V1
time
and Vk minus 1.
yeah, V1 and Vk minus 1, or V1 and discovery time of V1 and finishing time of V1, right?
So Vk and Vk minus 1 both will be the descendants of V1.
Yeah, discovery time of V1 is less than discovery time of Vk, which is again less than finishing time of V1, right? So which would mean that, so yeah, Vk minus 1, sorry,
Hello.
who is this? Yeah, Janmohan. Okay, Vk is discovered in between the discovery time of V1 and finishing time of V1, right? Which every vertex which is discovered in between the discovery time of V1 and the finishing time of V1 will be the descendants of V1. Okay, so that will sort of say that Vk is a descendant of V1, right? So this is nice, right? Notice that.
So is it possible to say that the finishing time of a Vk will also be less than finishing time of V1, since like the discovery time is in
Now,
between that?
the discovery time is in between that. You can always say that. Actually, we can even say that. That is not. Yeah, we can even infer that, right? Good. So
Sir, I have one more proof for this. Simple.
yeah, please go ahead, Prajwal.
So we'll make a set of all the vertices to which there is a path from V and it is unvisited. Now we'll make an inductive hypothesis that all these vertices are descendants of V. Now all the unvisited vertices of V, I mean all the unvisited neighbors of V are descendants of V. So like that the induction goes on until the unvisited neighbors of V are, I mean, from them there are no.
Yeah, it is again distance from V, right? You are again inducting on the distance from V.
Yeah.
Or the number of vertices in the number of vertices unvisited, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, yeah. What is it? What is the induction on?
I have to think just. No, the hypothesis. Okay.
So you should induct on something, right? What is that? The number of vertices which are there in that whole graph, or the path
number of vertices, but there is no exact number. Like first I.
It doesn't have to be exact number. It has to be something that can be counted, right? That's all, right? It has to be an integer or something, right? It has to have a yeah, this, whatever this, I mean, we
Like
have
it
seen
is
earlier,
proven
right?
for
Yeah.
it is proven for all neighboring vertices of V.
Yeah.
Like I'm using
That's
assumption
because
on all.
the distance is 1, right? We use this, right? This was something we used to prove it, right?
Okay. Yes. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I mean, what you are saying is correct, but we need to sort of yeah, make it a bit uh, yeah, concrete, right? So this is important. So I will write this, I will retain this, and I will sort of erase everything else. Let us completely go through this proof, right? So this is also, yeah, um, I want you guys to write proofs this way. So I would sort of show it till some time when you are comfortable, and then we can sort of start off discussing ideas, and you guys will know how to. Still, we will prove everything, but I might not write every sentence, right? So you guys will be much more. Yeah, you have seen discrete maths. This is not the first time you are seeing proofs, right? So should be okay. Right. So yeah. So the first claim is uh, let say H be a digraph with edge say VU, say belonging to the set of H, and let discovery time of V is less than discovery time of U, right? Then U is a descendant of V in the DFS tree containing V, right? So is this claim true? This is what we proved, right? So do I need to write the proof for this, or you guys can write it? So we proved this by saying that, right, discovery time of V is less than the discovery time of U, right? So we would, since the edge UV is present, right, the finishing time, right? So we would always explore U before we finish V, right? So in other words, we could also, so just let me write a, since VU belong to the set of H, the vertex U would be explored before V finishes, right? Thus, discovery time of, let me just use a shorthand for discovery time. Anyway, discovery time of U, or V was discovered first. Discovery time of V is less than discovery time of U, right? So, and which is basically less than finishing time of u, which is basically again less than finishing time of v, right? Basically, you should finish before v finishes, right? That is how we sort of recursively called these functions, right? In our explore function, right? This sort of implies that u is descendant of v in DFS tree that contains v. Okay. So this is initial claim, right? We will use this claim to sort of get whatever we want. So using this, we can sort of, as Pranav said, we and others also add this idea. We sort of could extend to any path, right? So now what we will do is something similar to what Prajwal was trying to say, right? We will try to extend to every vertex that is reachable from V, right? Every vertex that is reachable from V in H, right? So in H, what the idea is basically H is a graph where no vertex is visited, right? And V is the first vertex to be discovered. Then what we will say is every vertex which is reachable, right? What do we mean by reachable? So a vertex is reachable, right? If it is reachable, right? V is U is reachable from V if there exists a directed path from V to U, right? If there is a path, right? So here, since I don't have to sort of say directed, this reachability is true even in undirected graph, as long as there is a path from V to U, right? So if we are talking about directed graphs, it should be a directed path, right? So what we sort of would, what we can say is that, so if you look at any vertex that is reachable from V, if V is the first vertex that is discovered in H, right, then it is always, any such vertex will be a descendant of V in the DFS tree. Okay. So this is what we would want to sort of claim, right? So we call this property as the reachability property. This is a very important property which will be used in many places, which is a nice thing, right? So what does this mean? Let H be a digraph. Let V be the first vertex to be discovered in H. Let say R be the set of vertices reachable from V in H, right? Then every vertex in R is a descendant of V in the DFS tree containing V, right? So this is what. So was this what you wanted to say, Prajwal? Is it similar to? Is Prajwal there or he dozed off?
Sorry, sir, I was muted. Yes, sir.
Is it what you wanted to say?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I've tried to sort of paraphrase whatever you said. I want, probably we will be using this again and again. So instead of paths, you were talking about a subgraph, right? Subgraph where every vertex, every vertex reachable from every vertex which have a path, right?
Yes, sir.
Will be descendants. Okay. Okay. So this is the property which we want to prove, right? The proof is anyway very similar to what we did before, right? Whatever Pranav's proof also works here, right? So you need to prove for one vertex in R, right? It will be proof for it is true for every other vertex, right? So we will prove based on you take any vertex u belong to R, and you prove based on the distance from u to v to u, right? So just let me write it so that you guys become much more comfortable in proving this. Anyway, this I think you guys are anyway now this claim, right? You are comfortable with. I will sort of erase it. But you guys remember the claim, right? We have sort of told so many times. Now I think you guys will remember it. Okay. So what we do is basically proof. Say let u belong to R, right? We prove the statement by, you can even say distance or even the size of R we could sort of anyway, let us say we prove the statement by induction on the distance from V to U, right? When we say distance, it is the number of edges, right? The number of edges in the shortest path from V to U, right? Okay, so distance from V to U, right? So by the claim, the statement is true if VU is an edge, right? Edge of H, right? So if it is an edge, it is at distance 1 and the previous claim proved it, right? Now by inductive hypothesis, assume the statement to be true for all vertices at distance at most say k, right? By inductive hypothesis, assume the statement to be true for all u belong to H with distance VU less than or equal to some k, right? Now assume that the distance from V to U is equal to say k plus 1, right? Now, so take a shortest path from V to U, right? You take a shortest path from V to U, right? It is of length k plus 1. You take the vertex previous to U in this path, right? Let us call it some vertex X. So we know by inductive hypothesis that X is a descendant of V in the DFS tree, right? So now we will argue based on discovery time of X and discovery time of U, right? So X is a predecessor of U in the path from V to U, right? So it is the predecessor. Now let us just do what Pranav did, right? So basically we compared the discovery times of X and U, right? One is discovery time of X is less than discovery time of U, right? So if X has discovery time less than U, then what do we do? Then is the proof clear?
Yes.
Yeah, why? Why is it clear?
Because X will become a descendant of U. U will become a descendant of X.
Yeah, because there is an edge, right? There is an edge from X to U, right? So this is by claim. By claim, our earlier claim which we had by claim, right? So we have that U is descendant of X and hence of V. Okay, this is easier, right? Now, what about the other case? So the second case is discovery time of say U is less than discovery time of X, right? Here we know that U was discovered before X is discovered, right? And X is definitely the descendant of V, right? So what we know is basically discovery time of X, right, is less than anyway finishing time of X, which is less than finishing time of V1, right? Because X is anyway descendant of V1, right? It will finish first, right? Before we backtrack from V1, right? We should have already backtracked from X, right? This is anyway true, right? And discovery time of U is less than the discovery time of X, right? Which sort of this implies that discovery time of U is less than finishing time of V1, right? So this sort of implies that the discovery time of U is between, right? The discovery time of V1 and the finishing time of V1. So this implies that V1 is an ancestor of U, or U is a descendant of V1. U is descendant of V1, right? So this proves the property, right? This is what we call as reachability property, right? Which is a very nice property with respect to, I mean, in undirected graph it was much more simpler, right? So we didn't even try to prove this. In directed graphs it is much nicer, and this becomes very useful for us. Okay. So is this fine? Is the proof fine?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So when I want you guys to write algorithms, I want you to write proofs. Okay. So without proofs, your algorithms don't carry, don't make sense at all, right? So anyone can come up with some algorithm. First, to say that this algorithm is correct, you need to prove the correctness, right? Okay, so this is the reachability property. Any doubts with respect to this? We will be using this again and again. So I want to make sure that, yeah, if there are any doubts, let us get clarified here. Anything with respect to the writing as well as what we proved.
Sir,
Yes.
how do we make sure that the finishing time of U is less than finishing time of V1?
Yeah. So that is just by our inductive hypothesis, right? This is true by inductive hypothesis, right? The discovery time of X, we know that it is greater than the discovery time of V1, right? But the discovery time of X is anyway, it will definitely be less than the finishing time of X. And we also know that X is a descendant of V1, right? So it has to finish before V1. So it will be before the finishing time of V1. This statement is by inductive hypothesis, right? Is that fine, Samarth?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So basically, since it is the descendant, right? We have, by inductive hypothesis, we have already assumed that it is a descendant of, yeah, I should have mentioned that by inductive hypothesis, X is a descendant of V1. So it should finish before V1, and hence discovery time of X will always be less than the finishing time of V1.
Okay. Can you please explain statement 2 again?
What is statement 2?
Sir, this discovery time of U is less than discovery time of X. And sir, what is V1 in this?
V1 is the, so sorry, V, why did I, that's a typo, right? V. It is V, sorry. There is no V1. V was the vertex which we are talking about, right? V is the first vertex that was discovered in H. So yeah, that was a typo. It is not V1, it is V, right?
And sir, if there is an H between X and U, how will be the discovery time of X greater than discovery time of U?
Yeah, so if there is an edge between X and U, right? There is X here and there is U here. It can still happen that discovery time of U can be less than discovery time of X. That is because U was discovered from some other route, right? For example, see, this is this was a path from V to U, right? But even before we came to this path, this is the depth first search, right? We don't go with respect to the length of the paths, right? So probably it was sort of, there was, this was the path that was followed by the DFS, and it discovered U here, and only then it came back and it discovered other vertices, right?
So, but then it won't form a cycle, right?
It doesn't form a cycle. We are not still there. We will come to the cycle later. We have not finished the algorithm yet. We are only finished the reachability property. That's all.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So yeah, Janmansh, if you are worried about the algorithm, we have not come to the algorithm yet. Okay. We are in the process of proving it. That's all.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so I am just giving you all the tools that are necessary so that you will argue later. See, we were trying to argue, we were sort of not, our arguments were cut short because of some properties we need. We are trying to prove all those properties, and then now I will give you all these properties. Now you can use these tools and now you can argue. So before doing that, I want to be sure if you guys are, we are all on the same page, right? So we understand these properties. So any yeah, questions with respect to the proof?
No, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, any other thing? Any other question? If you guys have not understood something.
Sir, to prove U is a descendant of V, is it also necessary to prove finishing time of U will also be less than finishing time of V?
Yeah, when we say U is a descendant, you don't even have to prove, right? Once it is descendant, it is always true, right? In any tree, that is how our, see that is by your recursion, right? Recursion or something, right? So when we wrote this explore, right? It finishes only after everything that was discovered after it finishes, right?
No, like I mean, like here we showed discovery time of u less than finishing time of v, and then we directly concluded u is descendant of v. But shouldn't we also say finishing time of u also less than finishing time of v?
Yeah, that is anyway true, right? So yeah, for something to be descendant, it's enough to be between discovery time of the starting point and the finishing time of the starting point, right? That's all we are using. We are trying to say that the discovery time of u is in between discovery time of v and finishing time of v. Yeah, the other thing is automatically implied. The finishing time of u is definitely less than the finishing time of v. Right?
Yes.
Okay. So is this fine? So any more questions? See, all of these things we are arguing based on the pseudocode we wrote, right? All this discovery time, finishing time comes from that pseudocode. That is our algorithm, right? Every time you look at this, you need to go back to that algorithm, right? So mainly the explore function, right? The explore function, now we are calling other functions and things like that, right? Or we are calling recursively this explore to explore all the other vertices, right? Basically here we are using the things that every vertex which is reachable from V will be explored, right? Before we come out of this explore V function, right? So that is what we are proving, and it's just that we are writing it in English. Right? We are basically analyzing that algorithm which we have written, right? This is what happens with respect to this particular graph, the directed graph we have taken.
Sir, isn't what Rakshit is saying is correct? Like what he says is that we should also prove that finishing time of u is less than finishing time of v, because like only this statement that discovery time of u is less than finishing time of v shouldn't prove that u is a descendant of v, right, sir?
Yeah, indeed. That is, and see what he said is correct, but yeah, maybe I jumped a bit. See, look at how the explore function is called, right? The explore function, explore v was called first, right? Explore v was called first, so the discovery time of v was set. Now we have proved that discovery time of u, right, is less than, right? Discovery time of u is anyway greater than discovery time of v, but we have also sort of said that the discovery time of u is less than the finishing time of v, right? So which means that that it is discovered before v finishes. So what does that mean? It means that v has not sort of finished its exploration, right? And everything that is explored after the discovery time of v will be in the subtree rooted at v, right? So it will always be the descendant, right? And see, we are using this finishing time of v because we know about that from the inductive hypothesis, right? And that is enough. And the other thing is implied anyway. The finishing time of u is anyway implied. Once we sort of do this, so basically to say that something is descendant, right? So what do we need to say, right? So let me sort of write here. So for any tree, right? So for any tree, so if you start from here, once it is a descendant, right? When can you say it is something is a descendant? It should be discovered after this vertex, which means that the discovery time of that vertex should be greater than the discovery time of the root, right? And so the finishing time, right? So, and also it should be less than the finishing time of the root, right? So because it will be in some other tree, or it will be in the higher up branches only if this finishes, right? If if this particular vertex is discovered after the finishing time of v, right? So in that sense, the finishing time of u is not so much necessary, right? So once it is implied anyway, it is indeed true. What he says is indeed true, but it is not necessary for our implication, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So any other questions? Okay. Okay, so now we have proved reachability property. So now let us go back to our original question. So given a digraph, we want to check if it has a cycle, right? Now how do you do this? So the algorithm is again very clear. You guys had given it last time. Suppose there is a back edge, you say yes, otherwise you say no, right? For yes thing, for yes, we have already sort of given the proof. Now how do you prove the sort of second part? Suppose the algorithm says no, there is no back edge. We said that we try to prove the contrapositive, right? So I will just remind you what you where you had stopped, right? This is the reachability property, and anyway, let it be there. Sort of we were trying to prove that suppose there exists a cycle in G, if there exists a cycle in G, then there exists a back edge in DFS, right? Now how do you prove this? So now can you guys go through, yeah, whatever proof you are trying to do and complete it?
So we can
Yes,
prove
sir.
that forward edge and cross edge cannot contribute to cycle.
Yeah. Is that even needed now?
I mean, if forward edge and cross edge do not contribute to a cycle, then for a cycle to exist, there should be tree edge and back edge.
Yeah, but how do we prove that? Again, we said that with respect to cross edges, we didn't want to sort of use this geometry into consideration, right? So that's why we sort of try to prove all this.
Sir,
So can we
we
say
can
the
assume the contradiction to be true and use reachability property.
Okay, how do you assume the contradiction to be true?
We can have a DFS tree and connect two of its leaves, and then there's a cycle. But then we can prove like this two must be a part of the tree, and there is another edge which contributing
Yeah,
in it.
now can you say what will be the back edge? Suppose the cycle is say let's see be the cycle which is somewhat like V1, V2, V3 to some Vk, right? And you still need to worry about the first vertex discovered in this cycle by the DFS.
So let it be V1.
Okay, let V1 be the first vertex. Let V1 be the first. This choice is again very important. I think this you guys came up with it in the earlier thing also. Let V1 be the first vertex discovered in DFS that is part of the cycle. Now can you say what will be the back edge?
Sir, Vk to V1, because there is an edge between V1 to Vk, but by reachability property, V1 is an ancestor.
The claim is that Vk V1 is a back edge, right? Is this what you are saying?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so why? How do we prove this?
Sir, there is an edge between V1 to Vk.
There is.
There is a cycle.
Is there an edge between V1 to Vk?
There's a path from V1.
It's a cycle, right?
So it is from Vk to V1, not V1 to Vk.
No, Vk V1 is the back edge, but what Mudit is saying is there is is there an edge from V1 to Vk, Mudit?
No,
or is
Vk to V1.
Is there an edge or a path? Yeah,
Sir,
VK
I'm
V1.
saying from VK to V1 there is an edge,
Yeah, VK V1 there is an edge. That is what I have written.
and there is a path from V1 to VK.
Yeah, I think initially you said I thought you said there was an
Yes,
edge.
sir. By mistake I said.
There exists a path from V1 to VK, and V1 is discovered first. So by reachability property, what do we know?
V1 is the sister of VK, means VK is the descendant of V1.
Property VK is descendant of V1. V1, right? VK is descendant of V1, right? So, which means that the edge VK V1, right? So this sort of implies that VK V1, this is enough, right? Is a back edge, right? Wonderful. Is that fine?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, someone had some doubt or something. Someone else was trying to talk. I don't know. So is this proof okay? Right. I think most of you are trying to sort of say this initially also, right? The only thing that was sort of stopping was this reachability property. We again proved it. Proved it, and once we prove it, this becomes very easy, right? It's a very simple proof, but again, it uses a nice property, what we call as reachability property. Okay. Good. Okay, nice. So this is good. So given a directed graph, now we are able to sort of check whether there exists a cycle or not, right? Now, just to sort of go further, what will be the time complexity of this algorithm? So you sort of, the time complexity is equal to the running DFS and sort of what is this partitioning the edges, right? How much time does it take?
O of n plus n.
O of n plus n. How do you do it? How do you sort of partition the edges?
We can.
So we can label the tree edges.
So by making an array visited.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, maybe we can. How do you make the array visited? We can easily get the tree edges. That is easy, right?
Also, the back edges also we can get during the DFS.
Oh, back edges we can get during the DFS. Is it? How do we get the back edges?
So we can maintain like a stack or as to which which path we have gone down currently.
Or which path? Which path we have gone down? Is it?
So on for each DFS, we can mark in that particular DFS call which all vertices we have visited. So that will cover all the.
That will sort of give the tree, right? It will give the component. Will it give the path? Will it give the back edge?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, sir. So if there is a edge to anything on the current DFS visited vertices, that's a back edge, right?
It can also be a cross edge, right?
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah. Please go ahead. Yes.
Sir, computing all the timestamps, so we can keep track of whether a vertex has been finished or not. Since if a vertex has been finished and we happen to visit it, then that means that it is either a forward edge or a cross edge.
Okay, so 1 minute. So let me just write what you are saying. So basically you are using this discovery times and finishing times, is it?
Yeah, yes, sir.
So please tell me if we can use it. What are you saying? So we maintain this anyway, discovery times and finishing times. Okay. Now suppose there is an edge UV, then how do you sort of classify it? You see an edge UV.
Yes, sir.
So, like when we visit V from U, then there are three cases. Either it has not been discovered yet.
Yeah, no, you can assume that you can assume some inequality with respect to discovery time of U, finishing time of U,
Yeah.
discovery time of V, and finishing time of V.
Yeah, so the first case, if V has not been discovered, that means the discovery time is not there yet. So it has to be a tree edge.
Okay, so if the if U is not discovered, right? U is not discovered.
Okay, if we visit from V, then
is
fine,
not,
yeah.
Yeah.
V is not discovered, yeah.
Sorry, V is not discovered yet, and you are processing this edge UV, then this sort of implies that UV
This is a tree edge.
is a tree edge. Good, wonderful.
So now, if V has been discovered but not finished yet.
Okay, V is already discovered. This we can get it using finishing discovery time, right? Already discovered but not finished.
Yeah.
Not finished yet.
So this is a back edge.
Okay, so what you are saying is V is already discovered but it is not finished yet, right? So now you are at vertex U and you are trying to explore this vertex V, right? Now can we say anything about the discovery time of U?
Sir, one thing is sure, it has to be after V was discovered. So it has to be greater than discovery time of V.
Okay.
Oh,
And less than finishing time of V.
No, right? No,
Exactly.
that's where the catch is, right? So, yeah. So let us take the scenario. There are two cases here, right? Based on the discovery time. Okay, let us go in what Aditya is saying. So now let us assume that discovery time of say U is less than discovery time of V. Something like, let me just draw the picture. So V is not finished, U is anyway not finished, V is also not finished, but discovery time of U is less than there is somewhere U here, right? Somewhere V here, right? So U has been discovered before V, right? And both have not finished yet, right?
Yes, sir.
So which means that this should be a descendant, right? V should be a descendant of U, right? So now if there is an edge, so suppose there is an edge UV now. So what does this mean? What sort of?
Then, sir, so this is a forward edge, I guess.
Forward edge. Wonderful. It's a forward edge. Good. Okay. Then the second case is this is 2.1. 2.2 is discovery time of V is less than discovery time of U. Right?
So now it will be a back edge.
So this is V and this is U. This is U. Right? There is an edge from U to V. Right? So V is definitely a descendant. Now it's a back edge. Right?
Yes.
Good.
It can be cross edge also.
Oh, okay. So can it be cross edge or will it only be back edge?
If V is
both have not finished.
Okay.
Okay. That is important. Both have not finished. Right?
So we can make use of component number also.
Component number will give you the component, right? That is yeah.
Like, sir, if they belong to the same connected component, then it will be a package. It is sure then.
No, cross edges can also happen in the same component. We have seen cross edges, right? If you go back to our earlier example, there were cross edges in the same component, right?
So we can find finishing time If the
Yeah.
finishing time of V is greater than finishing time of U.
There is an edge UV. So V is already discovered.
And finished also.
Already discovered and also finished. Right?
Yeah.
I could have
So
even
now,
simply said it is finished. Now,
sir, it will be either a forward edge or a cross edge, I think.
okay. So it will be either a forward edge or a cross edge. Okay. When is it a forward edge?
Sir, if we can somehow establish that one of them is a descendant of the other, then maybe we can conclude that.
Yeah. When is one descendant of another?
When it is discovered after that.
Yeah. Right. So basically, say 3.1. So discovery time of U is less than discovery time of V. Then what can we say? So U is discovered first, then V is discovered. Then now you have an edge UV. What can you say?
It's a forward edge, forward edge.
It's a forward edge, right?
Sir, we can say it only finishing time of U is less than discovery time of V, no, sir.
We can check if finishing time of
If finishing time of U is less than time of V, then only we can say that.
That is also true, right? So it has also finished, right? Here we are also sort of saying that yeah, you want to say what if discovery time of
if discovery time of V is greater than finishing time of U.
Yeah, I will come to that. So what about this? Will this happen? Discovery time of V, can it be less than discovery time of U? And U finishes first?
Yes, sir. Why not?
Yeah. What will?
So then it is a tree edge, no? In the first point, that's what we wrote.
Okay. V is not.
No.
Discovery
But
time
V
of
is discovered over here already, so it can't be a tree edge.
Yeah. V is discovered already. V is discovered, but discovery time of U is after it. Yeah. Now, will it be a cross edge? Or should we talk about finishing times also?
So we need
So
to talk about finishing
it's
time.
already been finished.
Yeah. So here
It's not
we
finished.
know
Here
we know that V is finished, right? So finishing time of V is definitely less than finishing time of U, right?
Sir.
So yeah. So what does this mean?
It's a back edge, no, sir. Then back edge.
Is it a back edge? So something like V was discovered, right? Then somewhere you went and you discovered U, right? We don't know when, right? So suppose it's a back edge. Then let's see what happens. Suppose it's a back edge, then you should finish before V, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But that is not happening, right? So it is not a descendant.
Can't be a back edge.
Can it be back edge?
It can't be back edge.
No, sir.
Cannot be back edge. If it is a back edge, the finishing time should also be less than the finishing time of the earlier one, right?
Finishing time of V should be greater than finishing time of U, sir.
Yeah. So, but here finishing time of V is less than finishing time of U. Then is this a cross edge?
Yes, sir, it can be a cross edge.
Or it can be any other kind of edge.
Sir, if we say that V is already discovered and finished, can't we say that we've explored all the descendants of V already? And so any other vertex that will be discovered later won't be a part of the same branch of V or the same subtree rooted at V. And so there'll be cross edges.
But we don't know about, U is not discovered yet.
Yeah, we're
right?
discovering U now, sir.
Oh, no, we are not discovering, we are not discovering U now. We might have discovered it earlier also, right? U was discovered at some point. We are exploring the neighbors of U. That's all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it is in the process, right? It is between discovery time of U and finishing time of U. We are in that process. We are exploring U, right? Yeah. So can there be, what is the other thing here? So discovery time of V, can this happen? Discovery time of V is less than discovery time of U, right? But that is not the case we have considered, but and finishing time of V, if it is greater than finishing time of,
Back edge now, sir.
that would be a back edge that we have anyway covered it, right? Yes, so did we cover all sorts of edges? Are these the only things that will happen? So Aditya Rudra.
Yes, sir.
So did we exhaust all the cases?
Yes, sir. Like there can be only 4 kinds of edges, and even if we try to rule out all the possibilities, even then we end up with cross edge only in 3.2.
Yeah, that's all, right? So have we sort of covered all scenarios? So this is basically V is not discovered yet. Yeah, that's a tree edge, right? So suppose it is discovered already. Once it is already discovered, there are only 2 cases. It is not finished yet, but it is already finished. Yeah, we have covered all the cases. Good. Okay. So does this take only linear time? How much time does this take? All this check.
So what's 3.2 again? What do you write for 3.2? Like in the end?
3.2 is basically V was discovered before U. Okay. And V also finished before U finished.
Okay, and then it's a cross edge.
Yeah, it's a cross edge. That's what we are saying. So this also sort of indirectly implies that the finishing time of V is also less than the discovery time of U. Okay. So V is already finished before U was discovered. U was even discovered, right? So it almost implies that, right? Because there is no other situation where it could be between them, right?
So if our main goal is only to find a back edge, then we can simplify this a little bit, right? Because we don't need to go into 3.
No, we are not only bothered about back edge. We just want to partition. Maybe it just might be required for later on, right? We want to, yeah, I'm just not only worried about back edge. I'm more worried about the partition, right? So if you want to partition the edges, now how much time does this take? Can we sort of analyze the time complexity here?
It's the same as before, because we just have to do extra few checks. That's all. Every time we
notice that all these checks are constant time, right? So for every edge, you're checking all these things, and that check can be done in constant time, right? So for every edge, you are taking constant amount of time. So in order of So it is basically C into M, right? Where C is some time, right? Or some constant amount of time. So it is basically order of M, right? So basically again, within linear time, you can still partition the edges into different types of edges: tree edge, back edge, forward edge, and cross edge. So still the running time of the algorithm still remains order of M plus N, right? Basically a linear time algorithm. Linear with respect to input size, right? So in linear time, we will be able to sort of check whether a digraph contains a directed cycle or not. So is that fine? Okay. Okay. So yeah, we learned quite a bit in this class, and I mean this is the sort of model we will follow for every algorithm. Okay. We will look at it. We will try to brainstorm and come up with ideas, right? Then we will sort of break down those ideas into small pieces which we can handle, right? We will prove those things, right? Then we will try to get an algorithm, right? And then we will try to analyze the algorithm. So when we analyze, if we feel that the algorithm is not sort of good enough, we will go back to the drawing board and we will try to sort of improve the algorithm. Okay. So this is what we will try to do with respect to every algorithm. Notice that the correctness is very, very important, right? So as probably remarked even in the discrete math section, there can always be beautiful, elegant algorithms which are wrong, right? So though we can look at them for their beauty and things like that, but we also want something that is correct, right? So if it doesn't work for everything, if it works for only one graph, then it is useless, right? So the beauty also goes away, right? So that is the thing. So we will always keep these things in mind. Okay. Okay. So any questions? So we will stop the class here, I think, because yeah, 11 o'clock we will have other class. So yeah, before you go, probably let me yeah just give you a problem, right? So that you can think, right? Suppose you are given a directed graph, right? And you want to check if there exists a vertex from which every other vertex is reachable, right? Then can you come up with an algorithm for that, right? Check if there exists a vertex from which all other vertices are reachable. Sort of this is sort of like a central vertex. Using this you can reach all other vertex. We don't know whether we can use other vertices to reach this, but using this vertex all other vertices are reachable, which means that there exists a path from this vertex to every other vertex in the graph. You need to check if there exists such a vertex. Okay. Try to think about this. We may or may not do it in the class, but that's a nice thing. With all the properties you have studied now, you should be able to do it. Okay. Okay, guys. Yeah. Directed graph. In an undirected graph, there is nothing much here. Once it is connected, you will have the property. It is not so interesting in undirected.